Hello there, everyone. Today ended up being a little bit strange. My wife took both kids to gymnastics, and I've got some time on my hands, so I figured, you know what I should do? I should go make a movie. And I'm already regretting it. This was a terrible decision. I got my computer on, starting editing, and I'm just going, no, I don't want to do this. But I've come too far now. I walked up the stairs, and the computer's on. So that means I'm committed to doing this video. First thing I want to talk about is a little bit of changes in training. So my last video was going over my post time off, post injury recovery program. We are going to be accelerating the deadlifts this month. It's not quite a peaking program, but it's very similar to that. The squats, the accessories, and the overheads are probably going to stay the same. Now on Saturdays, which were event days, instead of just doing general events, which means we're kind of lazy and sometimes we don't do as much as we should, we are starting to train as though we are going to do a competition. Now I'm not for sure going to do this, but there is a competition in October that looks like something that it's not too terrible. Like, all of the weights are at least challenging, but it's not something that I'm going to break myself, trying to do, because as I mentioned, I'm going to be starting a diet again around that time period, so I want to make sure that I'm not doing something where I need to be as strong as possible. And we would be doing novice. Hopefully that would be the last novice show if we do it. So again, no guarantee we're doing it, but every Saturday we're going to train as though we are doing that competition. So that's going to be very different. I may or may not get some videos out if you guys are interested in that. Deadlifts this week felt terrible, so the plan was to do 425 for 3 sets of 5, and I was really unsure about it. Glenn, he rocked it. I mean, he had no problems. I ended up getting 3 sets of 4, and they felt terrible. And then I did an extra set with 3 reps to make sure I got the total amount of reps. But after reviewing the footage, I only took one video. I should have videoed all of them. I realized I'm going really, really slow, which is not something that I used to do on the deadlift. So obviously all this time off and then coming back to it, I haven't been really focusing on generating power, so getting some speed off the floor. Need to start. So we're going to be doing that. Yesterday I built some blocks because I prefer those to doing rack pulls for the assistance exercise of the deadlift. And this competition, if we do it, will end up having a axle raised deadlift. So that's kind of one of the things we're going to be doing. So what you're going to be seeing in this video is probably playing while I'm talking, because I don't want to make this video super long. We are going to be doing farmers, we're going to be doing yoke walk, we're going to be doing axle overhead press, we're going to be doing some sort of keg medley with a load, and a raised deadlift. Like I said, it's 13 inches on an axle, so that's something I haven't really practiced with. But my thoughts right now, I don't super hard program the strongman days, but we're going to do a heavier day on the farmers with a light yoke, and then those will swap. So we'll be doing both every week, seeing how my legs hold up. As I mentioned a couple times, I'm trying to make sure I'm coming into the smart, letting my feet stay healed. I don't want the plantar fascia getting all messed up again. I don't want to get shin splints, which I've had a couple of problems with over the past, where we try and accelerate everything really quickly. So this week we did 225 on the farmers. I ended up almost taking out my knee. Luckily I was wearing the strong sleeves, but about this much of the strong sleeve was completely busted up when my knee hit the handle, because my driveway has a dip, so there's a root, so it goes up and then it goes down, and I was going through the down and I kind of hit it with my foot and lost the farmers, hit my knee really hard. Wasn't sure if I hurt something or not, so I didn't keep going, but I was like, okay, this is not good. Looked down and there was a hole in my strong sleeves. So yeah, I'm always wearing sleeves now for farmers. But the 225 per hand, that's pounds obviously, is actually what the novice will be doing. And it's 60 feet, which is what we have set up. So it's actually set at the distance we need with our tape. And then the farmers We're not going to do an open because it's a USS show, so middleweight's 220, which neither of us are close to that. But they're doing 275 a hand. So my thought is on the heavier days, we're going to go past the 225, even though all we need to do is 225 to train that. And then on the lighter days, we'll actually go under 225, work on speed, work on endurance. And then, towards as it gets closer, if we decide to do the show, those will be doing 225. So, we might be doing 275 on the heavy day, 225 on the light day. Farmers is 500 or 550 for novice, somewhere in there. So I don't like training yoke very heavy. That's one of those things, it'll just crush you and it beats you up pretty bad. So we just worked up to 405 on the yoke, just focusing on learning it. Since I've had a frozen shoulder in 2017, I haven't actually done yoke. And the few times that I just tried moving it, it just slipped right off because I couldn't figure out what to do with my arms, because I always used to hold the uprights, which now I can't do with the frozen shoulder. So for me, a lot of it is going to be figuring out how to move with a yoke. 405 felt pretty good. We did a couple runs with that. We have no idea what the kegs are going to weigh, so we just kind of used our light keg. I want to say it's around 160, 155, somewhere in there. This is just filled with water and a little bit of sand. So 165 is a full keg of water, but some of the water went out over the winter. And I have a heavier keg, and then we have one that we're going to load, but I'm waiting until we see what the weights are. And you have to run that, throw it over a 48-inch height. 60 feet, 40 feet, and 20 feet are going to be the heights. We just used the one, so we went down, and then we picked it back up and walked and did it again. The axle is 185, clean once, press as many times as you can, and that's for novice, obviously, so we want to be more than that. However, when I tried this, the axle felt terrible. Ever since my shoulder surgery, any sort of straight bar pressing, bench, overhead, doesn't feel great. The log feels fine. I love the feeling of the log. But when I did the axle, it actually felt really uncomfortable on my wrist. And I think that's because my wrist can't fully pronate or supinate, either one, on my right arm anymore. And so with that axle, it's that 2-inch grip, so you're kind of like this. You really don't want to have your wrist unable to flex. So adding in a little bit of wrist exercises to try and work on that. And one more thing that I wanted to talk about, because I thought this was funny. So this right here is my logbook. I do not take body measurements very often, and how I do it is just the same way I always have done it, so it's not necessarily like a bodybuilding thing, so don't put too much stock in this. But what was interesting, the last time that I had measured was 8/15 of 2018, so August 15th. And that was after I'd been dieting about 2.5 weeks. So what I want to talk about is stomach. So how I do the stomach, I believe, is what a lot of people call their waist, but I don't wear my pants at my belly button, so I call it stomach. So it's around, it gets my love handles, and it's right on the belly button. That's how I know it's always the same spot. I was 43 inches. Now, why that's cool for me, my biggest, I was actually at 48. So I measured 46 on that August after I'd been dieting for a little bit. I was 48 on January 16th of 2016, which was the time before that. So like I said, I don't do it very often. And that was 16 days after I first started tracking my weight. And before that, I had done it on April 1st of 2015. I was at 48 then. And 4/27 of 2014. So like once a year, basically, except for nothing in 2017. I was at 47 3/4. So I have to look all the way back to 2012 to see where I was 43. And for those of you who are curious, that wasn't the lowest I was, though. That 2012 is the end of 2012 is when I got stress fractures in both of my shins and gained 50 pounds. And I hadn't put it off until just recently. But I was 41 to 40 and a half in 2011. I started lifting in the very beginning was September of 2010. So I'm just gonna say I put on a lot of muscle in the belly region, although a lot of that was fat. But I thought that was cool. And I keep saying I had a lot of atrophy in my arms, and sure enough, so before shoulder surgery, around my shoulders, so that's like where you'd measure a suit, so all the way around, I was 55 and a quarter. And now I'm 53. Okay, and I didn't have much fat right there on the shoulder, so that's down quite a bit. I'm losing some chest fat. I'm down to 46 and 7/8 from 49 and a half, so that's around the nipple line, so all around the back. But my arms have gone down 2 inches, so that's why my arms look so small. Some of that was fat, for sure, but a lot of it was muscle. You know, being in the sling for 6 months and then not being able to do anything, and then having the rheumatoid arthritis and not being able to lift anything with my arms for 2 months, and then fighting with that, I lost just a lot of mass in my arms. And then my legs are actually down 2 inches. And I'm going to say that is probably some muscle and some fat, because my legs did have a little bit of fat around them. I would say probably 1 inch around the knee. But my foot got hurt and then my knee got hurt, so I hadn't done any lower body work for 4 months. So I definitely lost some size there, and I was not dieting as good as I should have been. The saddest part is I lost 3/4 of an inch on my calves. Whew. But my neck's the same, so I didn't lose anything in the neck. Yeah. So that's basically what's going on with the training. Hopefully you guys have seen this footage and this voiceover told you essentially what we're doing. If you have any questions or you want to see anything else, please let me know. Oh, my weight, because I was forgetting this. So people keep talking about diet. Reverse diet is the reverse of a diet. So it's adding food, not lowering food. But today I weighed in at 236.2. For reference, when I stopped dieting, so my last weigh-in officially restricting calories, I was 237.6, so I'm still below that. However, this week on Sunday, or Monday, from Sunday, was the first time that I passed the weight. I was really bad this weekend. So when I went to church, they had a whole bunch of cookies and fruit. So I ate some fruit, but then I was like, I'm going to eat some cookies. And I had 4. And then we went out to eat. And then we went to the ice cream shop in town has opened up. So I had ice cream. And then I ate some more. And then I ate cereal. So I was really bad. And the scale fluctuated up. I gained 4 pounds that day. And I knew it was just temporary. So Tuesday, when I weighed in after eating good on Monday, I was back to 237.6. So I still added calories this week. This is now week 11. I am at 3,012 calories per day. I don't have the rest of the macros, but that's what I'm at, I believe. And the goal is to, once the weight starts going up consistently, which it hasn't right now, basically it's been, I go a little bit up on the weekend, and then I kind of drop, and then I go up a little bit on the weekend, and then drop. Once it starts going up, okay, we're going to cut just a little bit of calories so it's steady, and then we stop. That's the end of the reverse diet, because I don't want to gain a bunch of weight back. But I want the calories to be over 3,000, so late August, when I start the diet again, I can drop from higher calories. Because when I started dieting this most recent time, where I lost 48 or whatever pounds, I had to go really low because I was eating very low. So I want to eat high, maintain high, so I can cut. If I can cut around 2,500 calories, that would be perfect. So that is it for this video. Go lift something heavy.